Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome you all in the new lecture of Bioenergetics and Carbohydrates Metabolism. In this lecture, we will discuss the most important concepts of biochemistry, most important and repeated MCQs of the carbohydrates metabolism and bioenergetics. These MCQs will be very helpful for different types of exams. MCQs number one is N amylose is similar to alpha helices. The glycosidic bond is both B and C are correct. In sucrose is hydrolyzed by B's. Yes, it joins glucose and fructose to form the. Which of the following is not a disaccharide? Amylose is not a disaccharide. Hexokinase activity in glycolysis is inhibited by glucose 6-phosphate. Name the enzyme which is used for branching of glycogen. Branching enzymes are used for branching. Name the hormone which is secreted in an emergency or in the stress condition. So it is the epinephrine. Blood glucose level cannot be augmented by mobilization of muscle glycogen due to lack of glucose 6-phosphorhydrogenase. In which type of glycogen storage disease is hyperuricemia in future? So type 1 glycogen storage disease is a characteristic of the hyperuricemia. Which of the following hormone maintain blood glucose level by activation of gluconeogenesis? Glucagon. Galactosemia commonly is due to deficiency of galactose 1-phosphatase uridyl transferase. Citric acid accumulation would both B and C are correct. Stimulate fructose 1,6-diphosphorase activity, inhibit fructokinase activity. Which of the following is not involved in the biosynthesis of DNA? So carbonic anhydrase is not involved in the biosynthesis of DNA. Which of the following would be considered a part of metabolism? All of the above are the part of metabolism. What is present in the stomach to prevent self-digestion? Mucus is present to prevent the stomach from self-digestion. Which of the following is not a product of the HMP shunt? D. Pseudoheptulose 5-phosphate. All are true regarding glucose 6-phosphate deficiency except hyperglycemia. In prolonged starvation, the main energy source of brain is ketone bodies is the main energy source for brain in prolonged starvation. Which one of the following enzyme provides a link between glycolysis and the citric acid cycle? It is pyruvate dehydrogenase. Which of the following is false about glycogen molecule? It is false. Glycogen is a polymer of beta D-glucose. No, it is the alpha D-glucose. Which of the following organ does not have glycogen storage? So erythrocyte have no glycogen storage capacity. So it was the question of 2022. The citric acid cycle is the final pathway for oxidation of none of the above because it is the oxidation of the pyruvate. The uptake of glucose by the liver increase following a carbohydrate meal because there is an increase in phosphorylation of glucose by glucokinase. Insulin inhibits gluconeogenesis and stimulates glycolysis. Which acid is formed in the citric acid cycle? So amongst these, oxaloacetic acid cycle is the product of the citric acid cycle. And essential for the conversion of glucose to glycogen in liver, it is UTP is essential for the conversion of glucose to glycogen. Which of the following enzymes use NADP as coenzyme? The glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase use NADP as a coenzyme. The main enzyme responsible for activation of xenobiotics, that is a detoxification of the foreign metabolites, so it is the cytochrome P450. Krebs cycle occurs in the condition of aerobic. Glycogen synthesis is increased by insulin. Liver glycogen contributes to maintenance of glucose but not muscle glycogen. Which of the following enzyme is absent in the muscle? तो glucose 6 phosphatase is absent in the muscles. Which of the following enzyme is responsible for glycogen breakdown? तो glycogen breakdown के लिए glycogen phosphorylase enzyme चाहिए होता है. Which of the enzyme is responsible for the hydrolysis of alpha 1 6 glycosidic bond present at a branching point of glycogen molecules? Alpha glucosidase enzymes. How many molecules of ATPs are synthesized per NADH? There are 3 ATP are synthesized per NADH. Why is the TCS cycle the central pathway of metabolism of the cell? Its intermediates are commonly used by other metabolic reactions. In what form does the product of glycolysis enter the tricarboxylic acid cycle? So acetyl coenzyme A is the answer. Malate aspartate shuttle operates in heart and liver. Which of them is multi-enzyme complex? Both A and B are multi-enzyme complex. Alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase and the pyruvate dehydrogenase. Gluconeogenesis occurs in the liver and kidney. Both the repeating units in hyaluronic acid is glucuronic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. Which of the following metabolite allosterically activate glycogen phosphorylase (AMP, adenosine monophosphate)? During cellular respiration, most of the ATP made is generated by oxidative Important function of cholesterol is to modulate fluidity of the membranes. The enzyme of the tricarboxylic acid cycle in a eukaryotic cell are located in the mitochondria. To stop ATP synthesis, which chemical is generally used? 2,4-dinitrophenol is used to stop ATP synthesis. Which of the following glucose transporters are important in fructose transport in the intestine? GLUT5. Carbohydrates accounts for 30% in the plants and 1% in the animals. In response to glucagon and the epinephrine, cells undergo a series of changes in signal transducing molecules that phosphorylates and activates glycogen phosphorylase. Which of the following enzyme is responsible for covalent modification of glycogen phosphorylase? Phosphorylase kinase. In muscles, the pyruvate is converted into lactate. Find the correct statement. During lactate formation, NADH is reconverted into NAD. Which of the following enzymes are not involved in galactose metabolism? So glucokinase is not involved in the galactose metabolism. Which of the following enzyme leads to a glycogen storage disease known as the Terrou's disease? Phosphofructokinase. Most multicellular organisms obtain energy for the synthesis of ATP during oxidative phosphorylation from a proton gradient across the inner mitochondrial membrane. Standard redox potential for a substance is measured under standard condition and is expressed as volt. Most of the enzymes of citric acid cycle in a eukaryotic cell are located in the पहले भी डिस्कस हो चुका है mitochondrial matrix. A positive redox potential means substance has higher affinity for electrons. Which of the following enzyme is defective in galactosemia, a fatal genetic disorder in infants? Galactose 1-phosphate uridyl transferase. Which of the following enzyme deficiency leads to hemolytic anemia? Pyruvate kinase leads towards the hemolytic anemia. Which of the following is not the direct or indirect activator of glycogen phosphorylase in muscle? To insulin. Which of the following protein is required for de novo synthesis of glycogen? To glycogenine. Which of the following is a tricarboxylic acid cycle? तो ट्राइकार्बोक्सिलिक साइकिल का दूसरा नाम सिट्रिक साइकिल भी है, इसको हम क्रेब्स साइकिल भी कहते हैं. Which of the following enzyme plays an important role in tumor metabolism? तो ट्यूमर मेटाबॉलिज्म में पायरुवेट काइनेज M2 हेल्प करता है. Energy that is released from glucose during respiration but not transferred to ATP bonds can be detected as heat. Which of the following is involved in energy production? All of the above are involved in the energy production. Which of the following enzymes does not take part in the TCS cycle? Pyruvate dehydrogenase. The first intermediate in tricarboxylic cycle is the citrate. Cholesterol can be synthesized de novo in the liver. Which of the following glycolytic enzyme is inhibited by an accumulation of the long-chain fatty acid in the liver? Glucokinase. Which of the following statement is known as the rate-limiting step in glycolysis? Phosphofructokinase. Which of the following metabolites negatively regulate pyruvate kinase? Alanine. The glycerol phosphate shuttle function in aerobic glycolysis to transport NADH equivalents resulting from the glycolysis into the mitochondria. Which one of the following is not the intermediate of Krebs cycle? Stearate is not the intermediate of the Krebs cycle. Which one is not the main protein in electron transport chain? Citrate synthase is not the main protein of the electron transport chain. How many ATPs are produced during citric acid cycle? 12 ATPs per cycle. The FADH2 and NADH produced by oxidation of one acetyl coenzyme A result in the synthesis of about 11 ATPs. In eukaryotes, electron transport chain occur in the inner mitochondrial membrane. The catabolism of sugar and the fatty acid is similar because both of these compounds are funneled through the TCA citric acid cycle. Which of the following enzyme is responsible for the addition of UDP glucose to the existing chain? It is glycogen synthase. The iodine test is used to differentiate glycogen from starch. On the iodine test, glycogen gives which of the following color? So it is violet color. Which of the following hormone decreases blood glucose and increases the uptake of glucose in various tissues like skeletal muscles and adipose tissue? Insulin is mainly responsible for this action. What is the net gain of ATP during conversion of glucose to pyruvate? So it is 2 ATP. End product तो glycolysis के end पे 2 ATPs बनते हैं. FAD is reduced to FADH2 during Krebs cycle. During glycolysis, electrons removed from glucose are passed to the NAD+. And a biological redox reaction always involves all of these: oxidizing agent, gains of electron, reducing agent. Coenzyme Q is involved in the electron transport as lipid-soluble electron carrier. The carbon dioxide is primarily product of Krebs cycle. Lactic acid is produced by human muscles during strenuous exercise because of lack of the oxygen. Which of the following is not a feature of the oxygen-to-phosphorylation? So direct transfer of the phosphate from the substrate molecule to ADP. Which of the following is not a significant biological oxidizing agent? So Fe3 is not a significant biological oxidizing agent. How many many carbon dioxide molecules are exhaled from each oxygen molecule utilized in cellular respiration? 1 molecule. What happens after glycolysis when oxygen is available as an electron acceptor? So NADH is produced. Which of the following is false statement about the fate of the glycolytic pathway in erythrocytes? Pyruvate generated during glycolysis is converted to acetyl coenzyme A and enters the TCA cycle. It is not possible in the erythrocytes. Which of the following hormone is responsible for increasing gluconeogenesis in the liver during prolonged starvation? Glucagon is responsible for this. Insulin acts on which enzyme in glycolysis? Glucokinase. Adrenaline acts on which enzyme in glycogenolysis? Phosphorylase enzyme. Which of the following is correct sequence of process in the oxidation of glucose? तो glycolysis होगा, Krebs cycle होगा, electron transport chain. Electron ultimately passes to the oxygen. Thank you so much. These are very important 101 MCQs that will be very helpful for the exam. Keep watching Biology Learning Zone.